gonna take this Colt Trooper MKIII and do the FrogLube treatment on it. And what I will do on anything that I'm treating with FrogLube, this gun is at room temperature right now. And you see I'm just taking a brush to it and I'm just coating everything with it. Inside, outside, all of it. The reason it's good to go ahead and coat, do the outside and everything too, is because it's got an electrostatic repelling property to where, say that you carry this gun, you carry it around. This gun's a little big to be carrying in your pocket, I guess. But like I've done a few little Ruger pocket guns, little 380s, and what it helps is it helps repel dust, lint, dirt, all that stuff, and keeps it from sticking to it. It keeps that charge down. Kind of keeps it from being able to adhere to it. That's one advantage there. And whenever you're talking about wood or polymer, man, it really makes it look good. It brings out the shine. Like if you've got, say, if you've got old wood, if you've got an old wood stock that looks dry rotted, you take some of that FrogLube, you give it the FrogLube treatment, and it will rejuvenate that and really make it look good again. And you see, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I've got parts of this brush, I've used it over and over and over again. So I've got good Lord, I can't talk tonight. I've got bristles from this brush that are sticking all to it. It's a non-factor, it doesn't matter, it's going to be just fine. We'll worry about that bore here in a little bit. Put your ejector here, and you want to pay extra close attention to any of these parts that are internal and move. Here's our hammer. You get inside of your bores. On your sides. I mean, just only time you'll ever hear me talk about being liberal. Be liberal with putting this on. I mean, you don't want it caked, but and it will be easier, if you're in a warmer climate. I think it's in the mid to high 70s here tonight right now. This paste is almost a liquid. If you're in a cold climate, it's gonna, you're gonna have a little bit of issues with the paste being quite pasty, and it's not really a problem. It's just something else that, as far as if you're trying not to use a whole lot, you're gonna go through this stuff. Use it, buy more. Don't worry about it. I can't stress to you how long a FrogLube kit will last you. Even if you're using it, if you're not being sparing at all and you're just throwing it on everything, woo, getting slick, it will last you a long time. So don't worry about it. You'll be fine. So how many of you guys have gone and checked out selfrep.com and chairbornecommandos.com? Talk about it in most of my videos, but highly recommend you guys going over there and checking them out and see what they got going. They got some good stuff. See, I got these small parts here, like the sear. You can see my hands are getting just caked in the stuff. Show you a little secret that I found. That's a Gerber baby food bottle, and it's cloudy because it's caked with FrogLube inside of there. What I found, that I'll take the smaller parts and I'll put down in there, and I'll just put that glass, that Gerber bottle, right on in the oven too. And what that does is it lets me swirl my brush around in there once I've got it up to temperature, and make sure that all that stuff is coated really well, because you know it's a anti-rust as well. It will help repel rust, and so you know these mem parts here on this Trooper, it's not really an issue, but I still treat it all about the same. You can see I'm just taking these little parts, and now the brush, I use the same brush pretty much. I've got 3 brushes that I use, and I've been using this brush for over a year now. I could switch to a different brush, but you know this thing's got all kinds of FrogLube in it. The parts are always clean to begin with before they get FrogLubed, so I'm not really dealing with dirt and everything on it, so I just keep running it. That way the FrogLube that's built up on it, I'm not throwing it away. And the springs, I make sure to get them. Now if you'll remember, you know, you look at some other videos, or you watch this video whenever I go to assemble it, I'll use FrogLube to assemble it as well. Now something I want to warn you about, see these little springs like this right here, this brush will pick up little springs and they'll get lost in the brushes. So as you go and you brush this stuff, especially if you dropped your brush, your springs down in there and you swirl it around, if you do it through my method, just make sure that you take that brush and just feel of it and make sure that it's not got a stowaway, because right now I'm just rubbing what's on my hands on these parts. And you know, remember, this FrogLube is completely safe. I mean, it's safe to eat, safe around your kids, safe around your pets. Like I say, I've been using some other products, testing them, Q20. I've used some Slipstream, and they're both of those are phenomenal products at what they do. But whenever it comes to the FrogLube itself and its versatility, so far it's unmatched. What I'm doing here on these grips, I'm not going to try and get them caked, too much on there, because what I'll do is I'll hit these grips up once they've got some temperature. It'll make it much easier to spread, because I'm not trying to lubricate the grips, which this will. That's something that you end up having to, after you've applied this FrogLube onto stuff like grips, have to take a little alcohol and brake parts cleaner, and you cut it. After the fact, I'll go in just a couple, like where these are. If it's too slick, I'll pull a little bit of that FrogLube back off of there, and that'll help you to get your grip back. But what we'll do is put these in here, and now the only other thing that I have left to do is going to be to do the bore. And in order to do the bore, and I'm going to do the bore on the cylinder too. Get a little FrogLube on there. And we're just going to coat it. And the way that I do it is I'll go back in after this has been through in the oven for a proprietary amount of time. I'll take it, pull it out, and the FrogLube gets reapplied. And so it's not the end of the world if you don't get it perfect the first time. Go. Now we're going to go over here to the oven, and we'll put it in. You can see this AK gas tube. It's that synthetic wood. It's not in the greatest of shape. So I'm going to take some FrogLube, put it on it. And we'll see how well, after it comes out of the oven, how well that FrogLube does for this. Now it's going to come off there. This has all got to be painted and everything. So this is just a test to see how well this synthetic soaks up the FrogLube, what it ends up coming out like. So I'm going to put that in here with the parts for the Trooper. And my oven is almost to temperature, and we're going to throw it in. Go in for the first cycle. Here we go. Just pulled these parts out of the oven for the first time, and what I'm doing here, it's this time it's at 190 degrees, and so it's not so hot that that you can't touch, but you can see how all that FrogLube that's down in there has melted. I'll take that brush and just kind of swirl it around, make sure that we've got good coverage on all the stuff. And you know, if there's any question, you can take a drop of liquid FrogLube, or you know, get you a little bit of the paste there, and just dip it in there and just swirl it around. Like I say, you want to make sure, kind of scrape your sides or whatever, make sure that you don't have the spring caught in there. Now's a good time. You do not want to remove. I stress again, you're not removing any of the FrogLube here. All you're doing is just touching up, making sure that you got good coverage. Now is the time to get the grips a little better. Make sure that everything's covered. And what I'll do here, grab our handgun. And now's the part where I'll go ahead, and if there's any fibers or anything from the brush, I'll get them out of the critical areas. And turn this over this time. That way. Well, warm stuff, my friends. That is warm stuff. Now we'll go back in for a little while, and we'll bring it out and wipe it off. Here we are. We've got the parts from last night out of the oven. These are the ones that we FrogLubed. Sorry, clearing my throat there. This is a microfiber towel that came with the FrogLube kit. The actual towel could change from time to time. But anyways, I try and always use the same one. I've got a couple of towels. If I'm doing something like on the range, I've got one towel for that because you can pretty much guarantee it might be dirty. Then I've got another towel, this one, for parts that I know are clean. Now this is that AK-47 gas tube, and it had the synthetic wood on it that was, you know, just not, it didn't look very good. It was cloudy, old, just didn't look good. And now you can see, I'm looking up here at the camera, probably the other view that you're seeing, but you can see that that is really, really a good look. So, it's nice and clean feeling. Good deal. Someone is calling me. And so, what I'll do is just, after your part has cooled completely down, or your parts, take your fiber cloth and just start wiping. If I've, like on this revolver, you know, down inside of there, we got FrogLube down in there. I don't, at this stage, bother removing the FrogLube from my internal pockets and areas. I'll usually leave it alone for now, and I'll leave the bore alone. Just go ahead and get the outside. It doesn't have to be perfect, just get it wiped down a little. And you can see here, it's got a good layer on it. You know, in the revolvers here, we put the FrogLube down into the cylinder itself, and so for this point, I treat the inside bores of the cylinder just like I do the bore of the barrel, and so I'll wait to mess with removing it right now. The grips, a lot of times they'll tend to soak in almost all of the FrogLube. Sometimes they won't. It all depends on the makeup of the polymer itself. So you can see how good that makes those grips look. And again, like I say, by using the same cloth, as long as you take care of your cloth and you segregate them to where you're not wiping dirty stuff with your good cloth, I can take this cloth if I need to, especially on wood or polymer grips or something like that, and I can hit it with this cloth without ever even opening up the FrogLube container, and a lot of times do what I need to do, rejuvenate or whatever. But again, you've got to make sure the stuff's clean if that's the cloth you're using. I mean, you do whatever you want, but that's just my suggestions. Camera. See, now here, this is going to be inside, but it's okay. As long as your parts are cooled down, you're not actually removing the lubrication or the protection whenever you wipe it off of them. Because now that the parts are cool, any of the FrogLube, and this process is done, any of the FrogLube that was going to soak into the metal, it's there. It's soaked in. And so, now, the name of the game is just removing the excess and get your parts all done. So I'm going to keep on removing all this excess. Now, I'll tell you what, before I continue on, I'll show you how I do this container here, the one that I've got all the little parts in. And yeah, this is just a glass cooking sheet over here. It doesn't absorb anything. You got to be careful using glass though, but I prefer it over metal or anything else. I'll take, you see these parts, now they're actually stuck in there because the FrogLube has solidified. Up, one part fell out. And so, there's a few of them. We'll just lodge them, parts there with the brush. And remember, see, look, there's a little spring stuck in there. And it's stuck on my brush. That's what I was telling you guys about. You've got to check your brush, check inside of there really well. Alright. Now once you dump that out, it's no different than the other parts. Just wipe it off. Again, it's not the end of the world if you don't get it all off of there. It is better though. And just proceed to take everything, wipe it down, and see you in a minute. Now to get the bore clean, get your FrogLube out of there, like on the cylinder. You can just take, it doesn't have to be precise, you're just trying to make sure that you're getting any extra buildup out of there. And a lot of times on these bores and everything, they may not be completely spotless, so I don't see, look, that's still got a little bit of stuff on there. So my good FrogLubing cloths and everything, I usually don't use them just because I don't want to get that stuff all over them. And, a little bit here and there doesn't hurt, but over a period of time, when you do as many as I do, it causes you some issues. And so, just going through there, you see there's not much. That's just barely dark. But you can go through and get the rest of everything. Now, for the bore, you can check it that way. And you see, that goes in almost all the way. That goes into the chamber. And so, I can take care of the bore this way. Now, in a rifle, it's different. And I can take this Q-tip, and I can do the entire gun, bores and everything with the Q-tip. Here, make sure. The reason you want to get that any caked up buildup out of there is because even though the FrogLube will help repel dust and everything, if you get too much, it can actually harm you. And so, go in here and take this, And what I'm doing right now is actually just loading this thing up with FrogLube that's left in there. And make sure that I got the inside of this good and clean, and making sure that FrogLube is in there. And so now, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see. There we go. Maybe you'll be able to see a little better with the blue background. Let's see. Yeah, that shines a little more light, doesn't it? There we go. Let's see what we got as far as the bore goes. There you go. And so that bore looks pretty clean, good and shiny. This gun's got some mileage on it. So that tells you about FrogLube, gives you an idea of how I do my process. As far as on the heats and everything, don't go above 200 degrees on anything. Stay below 200 degrees, and you'll have to experiment with it and find out what works best for you. As far as the time, you just want to make sure that your parts are heated through, that you don't have the outside up to temp and the inside still cold. You want it to be even all the way through. Something that I can stress to you is that, especially if you're using like a regular kitchen oven and you don't have, like what I've got, a PID controller or something like that on there, whenever that oven first tells you that it is at 200 degrees or 150 degrees or whatever it is, don't put your parts in right then, because that oven, if you set it at 200 degrees, I don't care if you've got a $3,000, you know, super duper oven from Sears or Magic Chef or whatever you would say, that temperature is going to continue to climb. If you've got it set at 200, that temperature might level out at 275. You don't know. Most of those ovens, once they get to their temperature, they will not register, they will not read any higher than the set temperature. So you don't see that fluctuation. And then, once they have gone up past it, and they pull power, they're going to go back down past your set point again so far until they say, oh, we need to give some power again. And it's going to just fluctuate like that for a little while. It's going to take a good 45 minutes to an hour for it to even normalize. So if you want to do it right and you want to do a good job and you don't want to tear up your parts, preheat that oven and give it time to normalize. 45 minutes to an hour on a kitchen oven is not unreasonable. If you've got longer than that, go ahead and do it. Especially if you're running polymers and things like that in there. If it's all metal, I mean, you know, you're not really gonna, you know, if it's all metal and that tears your gun up, if you're setting it at 200 degrees or a little below, and the over temp tears your gun up, you had a piece of junk gun. So, but either way, especially with your polymers and your metal and your polymers and your woods and stuff like that, give the oven time to normalize. Very important. The best thing to do is to do it overnight. I usually do 2 to 3 cycles of heat. And whenever you're done with your last cycle, or even if you just do one, rather than pull it out, just turn the oven off. Just let it, don't leave the door shut, turn the oven off, come back to it in the morning. And that way it cools down in a slow, controlled, natural state instead of having cold air hit it and it, you know, cool too fast on the outside or on the inside or whatever. Let it cool down evenly and slowly. And you do that, and you follow this video, and you're going to have phenomenal results with the FrogLube. Now, this is a product here, it's a fairly new product. This is the FrogLube solvent. It's in a spray bottle. Most of the stuff that I do around here at the shop, I don't need this because I've got an ultrasonic cleaner. Well, maybe this would work good if I had enough of it to put in an ultrasonic cleaner. But I can't afford it, even at dealer costs. I can't afford to put this in my ultrasonic cleaner and try it out. So either way, what this is really good for is range use. Get you one of these, throw in your bag. You can use this to clean your hands with even, because it's safe, smells good, doesn't leave no other residue. It cleans very, very well, and it's going to lubricate some as well. It's not too expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's more expensive than soap and water. This is your paste. I use paste more than anything here in the shop. I say that it's paramount you have both of these for sure. The cleaner is nice to have, it's a bonus. Most of your kits now that I can get in FrogLube will include it all. But with the paste, it allows me, I use it for everything. Any of you guys that watch, have seen a bunch of my videos, you know. The paste is the way to go on that. The liquid, what's really good about the liquid is, especially range use and stuff like that, this right here is all you need at the range. You don't need the paste. This will allow you to, like I said, on your AR or something like that, or your buddy's AR. It's not been treated. If it's not running right or needs a little lube, pull that magazine out, turn that gun upside down, drop you a couple of drops in there on that bolt, work it a little, drop a few more, and it's good. The paste, once it's come out of the oven, I'm able to smear it around and let it get down into hard to reach places. But the liquid allows me to do that to begin with. Now the paste and the liquid are the same product. There is the only difference in the two. The reason this is a paste and this is a liquid is, for lack of a better term, the amount of distillation they do, how long they cook it, so to speak, and that gives them the difference here. From what I understand, there are no formulaic differences. Is that a word? Formulaic? There are no differences in the formula as far as I know. Someone may be able to correct me on that. But from what I understand, from what I heard Larry say, this is the same product. It's just the process by which they derived it. That's the differences. Now, I don't know about the cleaner. I've not done enough research on this and its origins. I assume that it is probably just a watered down variant of this with some type of biodegradable solvent to help, or something, just a carrier, just extra water or something. But I don't know. I'm just kind of making an assumption there. But either way, you will get one of these acid brushes. You will get a microfiber towel. Here in just a second, I'll show you what probably the most popular case looks like. This is the FrogTube, is what this is called. This kit is under $50, and it comes in this tube. That's why they call it the FrogTube. And what it does is it's going to include everything you need to do what you see me do, whatever you decide to do with it. This is a very nice case here. I'd like to have some of those. Here is the FrogLube paste. You've got an updated brush. This isn't just the regular old acid brush. It's a lot nicer brush. You've got your cleaner, and for the liquid from the FrogTube, this is going to be your liquid here. A little bit smaller, but that's still fine. And then you get this. These got a yellow microfiber towel. It's all the same thing. Doesn't matter if you got a yellow towel or green towel or whatever. But that is your frog tube. It does have instructions here, and this is the way to go. There are other kits out there. There are cheaper kits, but I highly recommend the frog tube. It's compact and it has everything you need. You can keep it all together. Keep your towel in there together, that way that you always use the same thing. And it's just enough of everything. Like I say, I mean, I use the paste much more than I use the liquid, and you know, you get the full-size paste in here. Like I said, this is under $50. You can get FrogLube all over the place. I would appreciate that you call me and give me an email and purchase it from me. But bottom line is, use FrogLube. It's really, really good stuff. So, anyways, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video, and let me know what you think.